Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video. This is Chili Games, and obviously it's Mino. This is a ship that I can't stop playing right now. I think a lot of that is, one, I really do like playing high tiers. Like, when it was just tier 7, I loved playing tier 7. And I've always wanted to like playing Legendary tier because watching PC, all that kind of stuff, like I wanted to play tier 10s and all that kind of stuff. But unfortunately, like y'all know, Legendary tier is a pretty big mess in this game, especially with the rentals going on. So, tier 7, all the ships there pretty much got a little bit old, and then Legendary tier is just so frustrating to play that it was just kind of like there was a while there where I was playing lower tiers and I was just like, there's just nothing else to play. Like I don't want to frustrate myself. I'm bored with all the ships at tier 7. And that changes every update because usually there's a ship for us to play or something like that, and that'll hold me over for a week or two. But Mino is 110% a fantastic step in the right direction for Legendary tier, and I'm so happy that it's finally like actually in my hands. And it just makes it better because I can cover, well, when I play Legendary tier and I normally play solo. So when I play Legendary tier, I know that I can cover more ground, so to speak. I can do very well against battleships. I can do very well against destroyers. And I can also do very well against cruisers. And for the most part, the ship that I used to play a lot was the Alaska, just because, one, it's been buffed like 3 times and it's actually a little bit overpowered right now. Not overpowered. It's just too good for what Alaska is supposed to be. And it was just the most versatile class. But even then, it would still struggle because there would be a lot of matchmaking where you would go up against a bunch of Yamas and GKs, and Alaska doesn't really have the best DPM. There'd be times when you'd have to radar destroyers, again, the DPM issue, all that kind of stuff. So Mino fits in the middle, and obviously we had Worcester, which is kind of just like, discount version of what it really should be, in my opinion. And now we have Mino. And Mino covers so many, it just covers so many great areas of the game that I think is a ton of fun. Right now we're kind of just wasting time. And which is crazy because this game does end up being over 300k damage, and one heck of a game that kind of just like keeps going. And I honestly didn't even really realize like how much we had done until like 75% of the way through the game. I was just like, whoa, what just happened? Because for some, like, I just kind of like the damage just starts creeping up. So we have a Conqueror coming out broadside here, and that's a very, very big mistake. Anytime you see a battleship going in front of that island this early on in the game, they're going to get singled out. Any ship, if it's a cruiser, if it's a battleship, you're going to get singled out and you're going to die very, very quickly. Now, the reason why I love shooting Conqueror in Mino is obviously it's pretty lightly armored, so you can pin the belt at some pretty crazy ranges. And if you're not hitting the belt, you can just aim for the superstructure, and the superstructure on the Conqueror is absolutely massive. So as you can see here, we're just dumbstering this guy. He does take a big shot from the friendly Vladivostok, which is nice. And I guess fortunately for him, he does get his heal, and we were literally like a salvo and a half away from killing him. But even with Mino's DPM and him turning away, we still cannot out-conquer the Conqueror's heal. So he's going to be staying alive for a little bit longer. Yamato is in a perfect spot here. I love playing this little like niche little spot right here because it's perfect in the fact that I can shoot over it, but not a lot of other people can. Yamato is just far enough away to lob over, but he actually can't hit our water line, so that's fine with me. He's just going to get some overpins. Honestly, taking damage in Mino is something that you're just going to have to get used to. There are rarely games where I don't use at least 2 heals, I would say. And then the ones that I don't, they're just like the blowout games that are over in 5 minutes. But using the heals and taking minimal damage, I guess, is the best way to think about it. Obviously, you don't want to be getting depth struck. I mean, that's not what I'm saying. But you're going to take damage. And I think the best thing for me to do whenever I take big damage is you have 3 heals, which is a lot of healing, so to say, but for the most part, you're going to be taking a lot of AP damage. So if you try to wait to use your first heal after you, like if you're trying to use the full heal for your first heal, it's probably not the best. So what I tend to do is if I lose about 10, 15k health and I can heal about like 5, 6, 7,000 out of it, I'll go ahead and use the first heal because that way it gets me back up to about, 35 plus KHP, and then it already starts, cycling to the next one because realistically, most games you're not going to be able to get through 3 heals. And even then, if you do, you're not going to be able to get the full use out of them. So if I take a shot early on, I'll heal it, and then I'll just be sitting on 2 really, really good heals, and I'll try to make the most out of those. Yamato goes broadside here, which is a very big mistake, but unfortunately, those torpedoes miss the Mogami as well. But you can just see these 2 salvos that we get to shoot at the Mogami, we absolutely just smack him. And we didn't even get the best shots on him. And this is what I was talking about with the belt here. When you're this close to battleships with Mino, even though it has short fuse AP, you can aim for the belt or the bow or the stern, and the damage you can get is insane. Narrowly missing the Yamato shot there. No real danger, as I believe the friendly Vladivostok is going to clean up on the Yamato there. Nice kill. And it was at this point in time where I was just like, you know what, we're sitting pretty. And then I look at it and I was just like, oh my god, we're at 200k damage. And then as soon as I realized that, I was just like, oh wait, we just lost 2 people. This is not looking too great. They have the destroyer advantage, and I am all of a sudden 100% alone here on this flank, and so I need to get out of here. I know the Mogami's here, and I know that if I knew the Georgia behind him was going to be ready to shoot, so as long as I kind of like wait that initial second when you get spotted and then you turn out, most of the time people are going to miss. They're not going to expect you to be expecting their salvo. So get spotted, I'm ready to turn out, and then as soon as I would pull the trigger, if I was the Georgia, I'd turn out. We miss them. So we're not looking too great team-wise. We have the positioning and we have the caps ourselves, but the biggest thing is the team. And the friendly ships down at the bottom left-hand corner there, that worries me because they're really not in any sort of action right now, and even if we do kill this Yamato, it's going to take them a while to get back. And knowing how fast the Georgia is and knowing how close that destroyer was, it's not going to be long for them to take D. So what we really, really need to do here is we need to clear this Yamato out, and we need to get everybody to reposition to defend B. And that's what just kind of sucks about Mino is leading the charge in Mino is almost impossible because you are so lightly armored. So that's why I was constantly trying to figure out, where I wanted to go. And I was just like, you know what, let's go to A. Let's clean up the Yamato so that way we can all move together as a group towards B. Because I'm going to tell you right now, I really don't want to be trying to have a chicken fight with the Georgia and try to dodge his cells. If you don't have to take those engagements, don't ask for it. There's plenty of times where it's late game and I'll risk, I'll charge a battleship or whatever and I'll risk it and I'll try and dodge. But, every time a battleship shoots at you in this thing with AP, you are literally risking your entire game. So that's just something to know. And honestly, I love that about Mino because it makes it to where it's not just a super easy ship for everyone to play. Like it takes some amount of understanding and careful thought to really get the most out of this ship. And when you do, the people that do figure it out are going to have an absolute blast. And then the people that don't obviously aren't. But that's so good for the game just because there's been so many times when a tier 7 ship or a campaign ship will come out and it's really, really good. And it just like, no matter how good the player is or no matter how bad the player is, it's just insanely easy to get results from, and it makes it awful to play against. Mino versus a good player is not fun to play against, but Mino versus a not so good player is probably one of the easiest kills you're going to get in the game, which is super nice because that means that like not everyone just gets, just a free pass of just being able to dumpster you. But yeah, there we go. we take a shot from the Georgia. Unfortunately, I was trying to beach, turn back around so we could get into B after we cleaned up the Yamato. And yeah, we took about 3 hits there and lost about half our HP. But we got the heal, and we're back up to half HP, and we have an extra heal in reserve. And the Prince Eugen is shooting HE, which is fine because his HE DPM, compared to how much I can heal, is just terrible. But you can see how much damage we're able to do to this guy. I'm not sure why he just decided to stop just broads like that. And I have no idea why this Shimakaze has 5.6 kilometer detection, unless he was radared. I'm not too sure what was going on there. But an easy cleanup on the Shima, and the next thing that's left is just the Georgia. He goes unspotted, and I was at this point in time, I was just like, oh my god, we're 290. Like, what? Like, what just happened in this game? Like, I have had some crazy games, but this one did not feel like it should have been 300k. Like, it just, like, I looked up like twice, and it was like, okay, 100k, okay, 200k, and like I wasn't even trying for it, and then we just breeze like right through it. We still have a heal, we're unspotted, we have map control, we're in a great position to win the game, and we were just in a spot to do damage this entire game. So that is what we're going to end with, 314k. That was insane. I was going to go for the Prince Eugen here, but at this point in time I was already getting ready to record this because I'm like, this guy's going to die. But yeah, man, the Mino, it's a ton of fun. It's not going to be as fun when there's going to be like 15 of them per game when the campaign ends, but they'll be really easy to delete, so I'm not too worried about it. But anyways, the Dreadnought as well, the 300k game in the Minotaur, and yeah, hope you guys enjoyed that one, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.